Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. I'm having a good day. It's Friday, one of my favorite days of the week. We'll get started in about 25 seconds-ish. In English, when we say ish, it means around. So in about 20 seconds. Just making sure the audio is working. I hope you're ready to talk about dream jobs. I'll explain a little more about what those are in just a moment, but we'll get started in about 5 seconds here. Well, hello and welcome to this lesson where I'm going to talk about dream jobs. Dream jobs are the types of jobs that many people think they want, or many people do want. There might be a slight difference. A dream job is a job that very few people maybe do, but a lot of people think they would like to do it. You can see on my title slide, I have a picture of Matt Damon. He is an actor, and being an actor is one type of dream job. I'm sure there are many people in the world that dream of being a famous actor. They dream of being in movies or on a television show, but certainly being an actor is a type of dream job. So I hope you enjoy this English lesson where we're going to talk about dream jobs. Before we get started, there's just a few things I want to mention. One is, it might not be clear to you, but I am using a new camera. So I'm a little nervous that things maybe won't go right. But I did do a complete test yesterday and everything worked perfectly. So cross your fingers that everything goes well today. The other thing I wanted to mention is thank you for being here and joining the chat. The chat has very much evolved into a place where people just have great English conversations. It's really nice to see people joining the chat, saying hi to each other before the lesson, and then just enjoying each other's company while I teach a little bit of English. So let's try to keep the chat in English. Let's try to keep it a friendly place. If you have a question during the lesson and it's about the topic dream jobs, please use the form that Todd or Dave will link in the chat. I'm not going to say hi to anybody this morning. No, I'm just kidding. I will. I want to say hi to Semra and Wanda and Judith I see in the chat. I know that Todd and Dave are both here. Key Park is here. Brent from American English with This Guy, Lolly Lolly, Rod, Maria C, Mode Eggs. We have SEO Woo. I know if I scroll back that Norma is here as well. Mohammed Khan Tekken is here. And let me keep going back. Sam the Taiwanese. Semra, I might have mentioned already. I lose track. I should build a piece of software that kind of records all the people I need to say hi to. Hi to Linda. Let me get a few more names here and then we'll get started. Hi to Vitor. Hi to Elio. Lolly Lolly, Todd, Mode. Eugene is here. By the way, Eugene, I did get the hard drive with the photos of your trip to Toronto and Kingston. So I will dig through that and see what footage I can find. Anyways, we should get started. Dream jobs. Let me do one more audio check. Looks like everything's working really well. That's always good. So let's get started. One of the probably most popular dream jobs in the world is the job of being a professional athlete. I think many kids, when they are growing up, they will play a certain sport. And their dream will be that someday they will get paid to play that sport. Someday they will be a professional athlete. That might be a basketball player, a football player, American football, or a football player, what we call soccer. It could be anything. In Canada, many kids dream of becoming hockey players. So professional athlete is definitely probably the number one dream job on the list. By the way, this list isn't in any particular order, but I started with this. This is actually Fred VanVleet. He plays for the Toronto Raptors, which is a team in the National Basketball Association. So it's a team in Toronto. And even though Canada and the United States are separate countries, we do share sports leagues. We share teams in the NHL and the NBA for sure. So the Toronto Raptors, definitely a great place to play. I think there are many young Canadians who are dreaming of playing basketball now as a dream job. Where do professional athletes work? They work in stadiums, they work in arenas, they might play on the football field or the pitch. And definitely, I'm trying to think if there's any other words. When I go see a hockey game, it's at a hockey arena. When you go see a football game, it's at a stadium. So those are the places that a professional athlete would work. I added this one next just for a little bit of humor, and it's circus performer. In English, and I'm sure in other languages as well, sometimes people dream of running away to join the circus. It's a phrase you use when you're not happy with where you're at in life. And you might say, you know what, I might just run away and join the circus. Some people do actually join the circus, though. Canada has produced a circus troupe called Cirque du Soleil, which is a very popular group that does all kinds of circus acts. Anyways, where would a circus performer work? They would work in the big top. When you go to a circus a long time ago, there used to be big tents. Cirque du Soleil performs inside, of course, but it used to be that you would go to a tent and you would see the circus performers in the big top. So when you read a book or when you watch a movie like The Greatest Showman, which is about circuses, you will see large tents and elephants and jugglers and tightrope walkers and all different types of circus performers. Maybe you want to be a magician. Another dream job would be that you learn how to do card tricks or illusions. Maybe you want to learn how to make it look like you're sawing someone in half when you're really not. Maybe you would like to be a magician. I know a couple of my kids have learned some magic tricks. They've learned some card tricks in the past, and it's really fun to watch them do it. But maybe your dream in life, your dream job is to become a magician and to have your own show in Las Vegas. Maybe you want to be a rock star. So definitely a dream job for many people. This is probably on the same level as professional athlete. I think many kids in the world dream of being a professional athlete, or they might dream of being a rock star. This is Bono from U2. He's an amazing, well-known rock star, great singer, and I've never been able to see them in concert. I should sometime go and see them because they're getting a little bit old. But anyways, rock star, definitely. Where do rock stars perform? They perform on a stage. If you were a rock star, you might go to a music studio to record an album or to record a song. You would maybe play to a sold-out show in a stadium. Often rock stars and rock bands will rent out large stadiums where you would normally see a sporting event so that they can do a live concert. So rock star. I wanted to be a rock star when I was a kid, but I can't sing and I don't play any musical instruments. So I became a teacher instead. Even teachers can be rock stars. By the way, as we finish off rock star, the term rock star can be used to describe people who are good at their job as well. So at my school, no one says this, but if I did a good job, they could say, oh, he's a rock star. So that means I'm a really good teacher. There might be someone on your team at work who's just an exceptional worker. And you would say, oh, I love it when Joe is on my team. He's a rock star. And your job might be picking up garbage, but Joe's just really good at it. He's a rock star. We have another term, singer-songwriter. A singer-songwriter is someone who sings the songs that they've written. Someone like Taylor Swift, I believe, is a singer-songwriter. Alicia Keys is a singer-songwriter. These are people who spend their time writing music and then performing their music as well. So when they're doing the songwriting part, they're probably at home or somewhere quiet where they can just think clearly and be creative. And when they're done writing the song, they would go to the studio to record the song. Lolly in the chat says, woohoo, so I'm a rock star, yes. And you also just have the dream job of being a musician. Many people, when they are young, learn to play the guitar or the piano or the violin. They learn an instrument, and they might have a dream to become a professional musician. Maybe not a rock star, maybe not a singer-songwriter, but still find a way where they can be paid to play music. So often when you go to a studio, there are musicians who can work. They're called session musicians. Maybe you want to play in an orchestra. Maybe you are really good at playing the cello or the violin. or the timpani. I hope that's actually a kind of drum. You might want to look that word up. But certainly you maybe are looking to learn an instrument, and your dream job is to be paid to play that instrument. And it might be as simple as playing on the street. We have something called busking. When you busk, it means you play an instrument on the sidewalk and people put money into maybe your guitar case, and we would call you a busker. Or maybe you want to be a music producer. A music producer is someone who helps a musician or a singer-songwriter or a rock star or a rock band record their music in the studio. They might do the sound engineering. They might actually provide some of the money to get it done. But music producers are another way to work in the music industry, if that's your dream. And if you're not a good musician or singer, but you're good at the technical side of things, or you're good at the money side of things. And then maybe your dream job is to become an actor. Maybe your dream is to be in Hollywood movies or Bollywood movies or movies in your own country. Actors definitely are very cool. A couple things I wanted to mention when we got to this slide. We use the word actor to refer to both men and women. We use the term actress when we give out awards, but we don't generally use the word actress anymore in news articles or when we're talking about female actors. We usually just say actor, okay? So you would say he's an actor or she's an actor, but you would say, oh, she won Best Actress in her recent movie. So the term actress is used in formal things like giving awards, but generally we just use the word actor now. And then maybe your dream is to be a YouTuber. This is Felix Schellberg, also known as PewDiePie, probably one of the most famous YouTubers in the world. A YouTuber is someone who buys a camera, makes videos at home or in their town or city, and puts them on this platform, YouTube, that you are watching. Where does a YouTuber work? A YouTuber works at home. Generally, YouTubers, when they first start out, they make all of their videos at home. They edit them on a computer or maybe even on their phone. They might use their phone as their camera, and they might edit on their phone, and they upload their videos to YouTube, and they hope that people will watch them. So maybe your dream job is to be a YouTuber. Maybe you want to be a streamer and play video games and have people watch. Maybe you want to just make short little videos about cooking or exercising, and you're hoping that you will be successful on YouTube. If you are, you would be called a YouTuber. Probably a less of a dream job is to be a podcaster, but a podcaster is similar to a YouTuber, but instead of recording video, they simply record audio. So maybe your dream is to become a podcaster, to have a podcast. Generally, podcasters will have a small studio in their house with a microphone, and then they will record their own voice, or they will have other people who come as well, and they'll record a conversation. They don't usually hit their microphone like I just did, though. They're much more professional than that. But maybe your dream job is to become a podcaster. Maybe that's your goal in life, is to become a podcaster and just use maybe you have a smooth, buttery voice, a really nice sounding voice, and your dream is to just talk and get paid for it. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Hey, let's jump over to some questions. Well, before we do that, I want to thank Mirage for the super chats. Thank you so much, Mirage. I saw those go by earlier. Super sticker and a super chat. That was very, very nice of you. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Let me just scroll back to make sure. Yes, thank you, Mirage. And let me get to the first question. Give me a second here. Let's see here. SL Lanka has the first question. Hi, Bob. When you were young, during your time at university, what was your dream career? Are you satisfied with your present job? Thank you for being such an amazing teacher. Well, thanks, SL Lenka. When I was really young, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. That never happened. I just really wanted to be a helicopter pilot. But the problem is, I'm actually scared of heights. I'm afraid of heights. I don't like being high in the air. So I still don't know why I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. I think I was watching a TV show at the time called Airwolf, and I really liked Jan Michael Vincent, the actor. I thought he did a great job, and he flew a helicopter in that TV show. And so I think that made me want to be a helicopter pilot. And I also wanted to be a farmer, but my parents encouraged me to get a university degree. They said there was no money in farming, meaning that it wasn't a good career choice. So I went to university and got a degree, and I've never regretted it. I love teaching. I love teaching in person. I love teaching on YouTube. Let's see here. This is from Taihoa. Hi, Bob. No question, but my place is in quarantine. We're not allowed to go out of our houses. Little correction there. But at least I'm still home and not at the hospital. Well, that's good to know. And it's good to hear that you're learning some English with me today. Let's see here. This is from Guhan. Hi, Mr. Bob. No question today. I just want to say that my dream job is to be a YouTuber, and I'm doing it right now. I make funny videos. My channel name is Guhan Zone. Thanks. So have a look at that channel if you want to see Guhan starting out his dream job. Let's see here. Judith has the next question. Does performing mean working here? And then there's a sentence that's overly familiar and that an audience must through before the person performing it gets to be a predictable ending. Must think through before the... Yeah, I would say it means working. Performing is how we describe the work that actors do. So when an actor is on stage, they are performing. When a musician is on stage, they are performing. When a circus group is on stage, they are performing. So I think that in this sentence, definitely performing definitely means the same as working. Katerina has the next question. Hello, dear teacher Bob. My question is, whom did you want to be when you were a little boy? Little correction there. I wanted to be a cardio doctor, have a sunny and sweet weekend. Yep, definitely. I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. And I'm still laughing about that now because I think I would have been terrified if I went up. I've never been in a helicopter. I have been in airplanes. Those don't bother me. But yeah, helicopter pilot for some reason. Let's see here. Yaroslav, similar question. Hi, teacher Bob. Hope you're doing great. What makes the job a dream job? I'm going to change work to job. Was being a teacher farmer your dream? So definitely being a farmer and then teaching were things I enjoyed. I wanted to farm. I didn't start thinking about teaching till I was 17 or 18. I was encouraged to become a teacher. I think because I learned a lot about computers and I was always teaching people how to use computers, my uncles, my aunts, people around me. I think teachers at my school might have seen that I was doing a good job teaching people. So definitely. What makes it a dream job? I think a dream job is a job where you enjoy it, you get paid well, and it doesn't feel like working. You just like it so much, it's fun to do. The Fox. In your opinion, which country is the easiest for a talented person to build a career in? I think almost any country, especially if you look at something like YouTube. YouTubers have become famous in almost every country in the world. Instagrammers, YouTubers, all types of influencers, I'll get to that definition in a moment, have become quite talented, have become quite famous and have been quite successful. So I would say almost any country. I would say if you want to play soccer or football, you might call it football, you can be from anywhere in the world and become an amazingly high-paid professional soccer or football player for sure. Hey, I do want to say hi to the 434 people watching. Thanks for being here. I'm going to do a little audio check. I haven't heard any concerns. It sounds like everything is working great. Let me check that again, just a sec. There we go. Everything's working great. Forgot what I was going to do next. Oh, I was going to say you should click that subscribe button if you are new here. And I do want to thank everyone who is here and watching. You guys are awesome. But let's get back to the lesson. So I just used the word influencer. An influencer is someone who has a large following on YouTube or Instagram or just in the news, someone who is extremely famous. And because they have so many followers, they can influence what people decide to buy or do. A great example, I think this is Kim Kardashian. I'm not super familiar with the influencers of the world, but if Kim Kardashian said that Portugal is the best place to go on vacation, a whole bunch of people in the world would decide to go to Portugal for their vacation. If Kim Kardashian said that she loves spending the winter in Paris, France, more people would become interested in going to Paris, France. If she wears a dress from a certain company, more people will buy that dress. So an influencer is someone who has many, many followers on a social media platform and maybe in the tabloids. Tabloids are newspapers that follow the lives of celebrities. Or maybe they're just famous because they're on television or in movies. They are called influencers. I'm not an influencer. I'm just a guy who teaches English on YouTube. So Vito, before the lesson, was asking about, Vito said that their dream job was to just have so much money they didn't need to work. So there is a word for this, or a term, and it's independently wealthy. I once was in a university class, and there was an older gentleman there. He was about 35 years old. At the time, I was about 20. And I asked him, what do you do for a living? And he said, oh, I'm independently wealthy. So if you are independently wealthy, you have so much money that you don't need to work. You have so much money that the interest you earn on your investments is enough for you to live off of. Hopefully you understood that. I am not independently wealthy. I'm not even dependently wealthy. That's not a term, by the way. I am not independently wealthy. I need to go to work every single day. I need to earn my keep. I need to have a paycheck so that I can pay my mortgage, feed my children, and pay my bills. Someday, maybe when I'm 65 and I'm retired, I will have a pension and I will be able to live without working. But at this point in time, this is not me at all. Another dream job, and this is a common dream job. This is commonly mentioned by young children. If you ask young children, what do you want to be when you grow up? Sorry, I should have taught that phrase earlier. When you ask a child what job they want to do when they're older, we usually say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they might say that they want to be an astronaut. An astronaut is someone who works either at NASA or the European Space Agency, or maybe who else has space programs? I know China has a space program. I know other countries support other countries' space programs. Russia has a space program. There is a space station that a number of countries in the world share. But maybe as a child, you were like, I want to be an astronaut. This guy here, where does an astronaut work? Well, they work at the place where they launch rockets. By the way, in English, when a rocket gets launched, at the end, right before it launches, we say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I always yell blast off. It's pretty common, I think, for people to do that. So astronauts work at a, let me see here, like a space center on Earth. And then they might also work at in a space station. They might go up in a rocket to work on the space station. And right now, I think the world is working towards having a base on the moon and maybe a base on Mars. So someday, if you become an astronaut, you might be able to work somewhere like that. Maybe your goal is to become a chef. Maybe your goal is to be a famous restaurant owner. Maybe you want to be someone who creates new kinds of food dishes. You're going to mix together different types of foods from different countries and create unique and tasty dishes. So maybe you want to be a chef, or maybe you want to be a celebrity chef. A celebrity chef is someone who has a TV show or what we call cooking shows on television. So if you watch someone like Gordon Ramsay, he is a celebrity chef. A chef works usually at a restaurant, and the chef works in the kitchen of that restaurant. Although sometimes chefs become a personal chef. So they actually work at someone's house. That would be someone who is independently wealthy, might hire a personal chef. That's a possibility. Maybe your dream is to become an artist. Maybe you would like to be a painter. Maybe your dream is to use your artistic talents to express yourself in different forms. Maybe you like to do pottery. Maybe you like to do sculpting. Maybe you like to paint. And you would generally work in a studio. So an artist would work in their studio and they would create works of art. It's very difficult, I think, to become a highly paid artist. There's another term in English called starving artist. When you're starving, it means you don't have enough food. Many artists, when they are first starting out, not a lot of people buy their works of art. So they're in their studios, they're creating works of art, and they're having art shows and at an art gallery. And then they hope people buy their paintings or other art, and maybe it doesn't happen. So I used a bunch of terms in there. Art show, maybe they're having an opening. An opening means that you're having all of your art displayed at an art gallery, hoping that someone will buy it. I'm not an artist. I can draw stick people. I think you know what stick people are. It's when you draw people just using lines. That's the extent of my ability to draw. Maybe your dream is to become a writer. Maybe your dream job is to write a book. Maybe you want to become a journalist and write newspaper articles for the newspaper. Maybe your dream is to become an author. So a little bit of a difference between writer and author. Writer is a general term. So I could say, oh, I'm a writer for this magazine, or I'm a writer, I write children's books. An author is a writer who specifically writes books. But maybe your dream is to put pen to paper and to write some beautiful, beautiful books. Maybe you want to be a model. This was never my dream. Maybe if there was a company that only made blue plaid shirts for middle-aged men who are almost 50, and they were looking for a model to show the shirts to the public, then I would become a model. But maybe you are very attractive. Maybe you are an attractive man or woman, and people keep saying you have a beautiful face, you have really nice bone structure, like your cheekbones are really high, you have beautiful eyes. You should become a model. A model would work at a fashion show. A model would go to a photo shoot to have their picture taken. And basically their job is to look amazing while showing off clothing, jewelry, and other items that fashion designers are creating. So maybe your goal is to become a model. Again, this was never my goal. No one in my entire life ever said to me, Bob, you should become a model. So let's move on. Maybe your goal is to become a fashion designer. Your dream job is to design clothing. Maybe you love sewing things together. You love the feel and look of fabric, and you like to put different things, different outfits together. And people are always saying, you just look amazing. And then if you say, yeah, well, I made this myself, maybe your dream job might be to be a fashion designer. A fashion designer would work in their workshop, or they might call it a studio. We sometimes use the French word atelier as well to talk about a place, kind of like a big open space where someone can cut and sew fabric together. Maybe your goal is to become a nurse. Maybe you want to work in a hospital and help deliver babies and give people needles. Maybe your dream job is taking care of people. I have enormous respect for nurses in the world. They do an amazing job. If any of you work in healthcare as a nurse or doctor, I just want to thank you right now. You are just awesome people. Thank you, especially during this last year and a bit. I'm just very, very happy to say thank you to you. So thank you. Maybe you want to be a doctor. Maybe you want to perform surgeries. Maybe you want to just be what we call a general practitioner or family doctor. And you just want to be able to find out what's wrong with people, have them describe their symptoms, and then diagnose what's wrong and give them a prescription or some form of treatment. Again, both nurses and doctors work either at hospitals or medical centers. There's a lot of different names for that. We have urgent care centers, etc. But generally, nurses and doctors work in a hospital. Maybe you want to be a lawyer. Maybe you want to defend people in a court of law. Maybe you want to be able to take part in lawsuits. Maybe you want to be able to advise people about what to do with all their money if they're independently wealthy when they pass away or when they die. So you would then go to law school, and your primary place of work would be your law office or in the courts. Okay, so you might be in a courtroom or you might be in your law office. If you become a lawyer, you will probably become wealthy as well. No guarantee, but I know this. We have many students who come from other countries to study in Canada. Many of them want to become a doctor or a lawyer. Those are the two biggest goals that I have noticed. Maybe you want to become a photographer. Maybe you love taking pictures. You're really good at taking pictures. Maybe you want to work for the magazine called National Geographic, one of the most famous magazines in the world that has lots of beautiful pictures in it. So maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to use your photography skills to take beautiful photos so that people can see them when they read magazines, or maybe you even put them online. But maybe your dream job is to become a photographer. Where does a photographer work? Everywhere. Photographers go where the action is. Photographers go where they know they can take beautiful photos. And then they'll probably have a really nice camera and a tripod to put it on so they can take those photos. Maybe your goal is to become a pilot. I kind of mentioned this earlier. A pilot is someone who flies a plane or a helicopter. Maybe you want to join the Air Force in your country and become a jet fighter pilot, or maybe you want to fly helicopters in the Air Force. And then after you're done serving in the military, you might want to work for a commercial airline and fly for Air France or Air Canada or something like that. But maybe your dream job is to be a pilot. Where does a pilot work? A pilot sits on the flight deck or in the cockpit and flies the airplane or flies the helicopter. And again, when I was young, helicopter pilot, that was number one. Never happened. Never got my dream job. Hey, let's move to some questions. Let me just make a small change here. We're going to go to members only questions. Just give me 1 minute to make that switch. I think that's done. Let me get back to my screen here. So first of all, if you are a member, thank you for being a member. I did buy a new camera, finally. The money that people give when they click the join button below goes into a little reserve fund for me, and I use that to buy things like this camera. I'm waiting for a lens to come tomorrow. If you watched my video on my short English lesson channel today, I made it with my new camera, and I was really close to the camera because I need a 14mm lens. So that's coming today. But thank you for being members. You are helpful and you are awesome. Let me get the next question on this screen and let me look at the chat. So Lolly's talking to Natalia. Awesome. I think people are talking about how to become famous on YouTube. Brent's going to play more drums. Good plan. Gertrudis, good morning, dear teacher. For what is the most important thing that a dream job could give you? I think for me, a dream job is a dream where I have the freedom to make a lot of choices myself. For me, a dream job doesn't have to pay a lot of money. For me, a dream job is a job where I feel a little bit like I'm my own boss. Teaching is like that. A teacher in a classroom can teach how they want to teach. My boss does come and visit and give me pointers on how to do it better every once in a while. But for me, a dream job is a dream where I have a lot of freedom to be creative and do my job well, instead of a job where the manager or boss is telling me what to do every hour of the day. That would be hard for me. Al Gore says, U.S. Marine jet pilot is one dream job. Yes, that would be an interesting job. Eugene, hi Bob, the videos and photos took me 10 days on July 1st and July 2nd. You may make lessons, amazing city, amazing place, unforgettable time, etc., etc. I will do that. I'll send you an email, Eugene, actually, with some details. Brent says, there's still time to become a pilot. There's still time. My vision's going now, though. That's the problem. Thankfully, I'm not too tall to be a pilot. I think there's a height restriction. Rod's talking to Maria. Very cool. Lolly Bob says, what are your children's dream jobs? We don't know entirely yet. I know a couple of my children might go into computer programming. I know a couple of my children, none of them have expressed interest in flower farming, but children of farmers, it sometimes takes a few years before they realize that farming was actually enjoyable, because farming for kids isn't always enjoyable. It's a lot of hard work. So we'll wait and see. Maybe one will become a teacher. One of them has to take over my YouTube channel in about 10 years, because I want to retire at some point. Modags says, maybe Mr. Bob is not a model, but he's definitely role model. Well, thanks, Mode. Yes, that's very polite, very kind of you. It's never too late to study. Maria's saying to Linda, I'm itching to travel, says Rod. Yes, I think a lot of people are itching to travel. Samara's happy for the new camera. Yes, thank you again. Maria C, wow, that's very difficult for me, Rod. Let's see here. And I still think he'd be the best fit for a company that makes blue plaid shirts. Maybe, Mode, maybe I should start a company that makes blue plaid shirts. Sell shirts on my channel. I'm not going to do that. I'm too busy. SEO Woo, hello, Bob. I already have my dream job because I love it and I am satisfied. I think those are the two things. Brent says, those who can't teach become principals. So Brent and I work in schools as teachers. The boss in a school is the principal of the school. And Brent's saying, if you can't teach, then you become the principal. You become in charge. Maria C, hello, Bob. How are you today? Do you have a phrase in English that expresses the idea that if you have the job of your dreams, you'll never have to work again? I think we say that a little bit. We'll say, like, if you have the right job, you'll never work a day in your life, which means you'll like your job so much that it doesn't feel like work. Keep Arc. I wanted to be a writer when I was a kid, and when I was in high school, my dream job was a doctor performing surgeries. Very cool, Keep Arc. Norma, I also wanted to be a designer to decorate houses. I started lessons, but my job was full-time and I couldn't keep on studying. That could be the challenge sometimes, right? I always try to explain to students in grade 11 or 12, students who are 17 or 18, that for them right now is the time to learn something. It's very hard later in life to change careers. Let's see here. Guhan, Mr. Bob, may I know what is IT? My mom said it's a job. Yes, it's anything to do with computers, Guhan. Information technology is the longer version of the short form IT. Naomi, you said your dream job used to be a pilot. Do you think it's challenging to get a license to become a helicopter pilot? Thank you for your lessons. I don't remember, but I think it's probably pretty difficult to get that, especially at my age. But even as a kid, I thought it was simple as a kid. I think I thought it was like getting a driver's license. For those of you who are wondering what's happening right now, there's a question over here that I haven't answered because I'm answering questions from members in the chat right now. So let me keep going with that. Gaston, hi, Teacher Bob. If you weren't a teacher, what other dream job would you choose? I think farmer. I think I know I am a flower farmer with Jen, but as a kid, my parents had cows and we milked cows. I think I still like that as a job. I didn't like getting up at 5 a.m. Yeah. Lolly says, thanks. Samuel says, last Monday morning, Sunday evening in Canada, I watched your live playing GeoGuessr. It's quite trendy for some youngsters to become a game streamer. Yes. When I play GeoGuessr, that's my little, I feel like I'm young and becoming a streamer. That's my plan. Gertrudis, thank you a lot for your words to the health workers. No problem. By the way, both my sisters work in healthcare, so I very much appreciate people who work in healthcare. Al Gore, too bad. Most paintings get to cost a fortune after the artist dies. Very true. Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, says, I wish I had a job I could travel more. I'm kind of Rolling Stone at heart. So I think I would like that, but I wonder how long it would take before I would be homesick. Eugene, I'm an electrical engineer, a contractor, a network engineer, an electrician, and self-employed. Very cool. I think I have self-employed on the list. I should talk about that a bit. Self-employed is when you have your own business. You work for yourself. Maria C, I have another question. I sometimes confuse when to use the term work and the term job. When should we use each of them? So I go to work because I have a job. My job is to teach students. When I'm at work, I do my job. That wasn't a perfect description. I should do a longer lesson on that, I think, Maria. Julia, maybe I want to be a singer, but independently wealthy in case if no one liked my singing. That's a good plan for sure. Modag's talking to Brent. Brent is talking to SEO Woo. Good to see conversations happening. Brent is saying my current principal is actually pretty awesome. He gives great advice. I have a good principal too. It could be worse. No, he's actually great. He's interested in helping teachers become better, and that's very important. When when things like computers became important 20 years ago, it's good to have a principal who looks ahead. Al Gore talking about IT. Mirage, question is off lesson, Mirage, so I usually avoid those. Let's see here. My last day is next week, Friday, but then next week, Brent, it's kind of a mess. Like there's school some days and not others, depending on what class you teach. And then I have a few meetings and then I'm done. So, can I use family manager instead of housewife? No, but we don't use the term housewife too much anymore. We use the term like stay-at-home dad or stay-at-home mom. So if people are married and they have children and the dad or mom decides to stay home, we'll say, oh, she's a stay-at-home mom or he's a stay-at-home dad. That means the other person in the relationship goes out to work. Let's see here. Wanda, hi, Teacher Bob. It's a very challenging job. I'm a chemist. That would be a challenging job. I'm just going to switch off members only chat for a sec. Give me a moment here. Let me turn anyone back on. And I don't normally do this, but I'm going to continue with the lesson because I'm a little bit behind. So let's jump from, I'm sorry I didn't get to questions from the forum, but let's get back to the lesson. I might be going a little bit faster for the next 10 minutes. Let's see. Maybe you want to be a CEO. A CEO is a chief executive officer. This is someone who is in charge of an entire company. So maybe you want to be the CEO of Facebook, or you want to be the CEO of the Ford Motor Company. Maybe you want to be the CEO of BMW. This would mean that you are the boss. You are the boss of all the bosses. You are at the top. I have no desire to have that much authority or power. With jobs like this, I think there's also a lot of stress because you have to make sure that the company makes money. But maybe you want to be a CEO. A CEO works in the boardroom or in their office. So their office is where they have a desk and a phone. The boardroom is where they meet with other people. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to think of things or invent things, or maybe you just want to start your own business. So we use the French word entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who thinks, I could buy some dirt and some seeds and some pots, and then I could grow plants, and then I could sell them in the parking lot of my aunt's store. So that would be someone who is having entrepreneurial thoughts. So an entrepreneur is someone who finds a way to make money without working for someone else. Maybe you want to be a business owner. This picture made me laugh because I feel like this lady is a business owner. And she's in her office and she's looking out wondering where everyone is because it's probably a holiday. So when you own a business, you probably don't work. When you are a business owner, you probably work on holidays. So I felt like she was looking to see where all of her workers were and then remembering that it's actually a holiday. But a business owner would be someone who runs a business. A little different than an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a business owner, but a business owner is not necessarily an entrepreneur. Remember, an entrepreneur starts a business. A business owner might simply buy an existing business from someone and run that business. Maybe you're self-employed. We had this mentioned in the chat earlier. When you are self-employed, you work for yourself. So Jen, for instance, is self-employed. She has a flower farm. She grows and sells bouquets of flowers. She is self-employed. A self-employed person would work in the same place. A self-employed person, their place of work would be unique to what they do. So if they are an architect or a lawyer or a flower farmer, their place of work would be slightly different. Maybe you want to be a video game designer. Many of my students want to be video game testers. Their dream job is to work for a company where they play video games and get paid for it. I know those jobs exist, but I think they're few and far between. But if you want to become a computer programmer and you want to create video games, we would call you a video game designer. You would work in an office with other people. You would primarily sit at your desk, at your computer, writing computer code and making video games. So maybe your dream job is to be a video game designer. Who knows? I like writing computer programs, but it's never been my goal in life to be a video game designer. It's more of a hobby than something I would want to do for work. I do have a video game tester. Yes, many of my students dream of becoming video game testers. And again, this job does exist. It's probably not as fun as you think. I don't think it would be fun to play a game for 8 hours a day every day, but I guess you're getting paid for it. Who knows? Maybe you have a beautiful voice and you tried podcasting and it didn't work out, but you have a beautiful voice, or maybe you can make different voices. Maybe you're really good at voice acting. You might want to become a voice actor or a voiceover artist. So a voiceover artist comes in and they read a script into a microphone. They would go to a studio and they would have their voice recorded for television commercials, for radio commercials, for cartoons. Maybe you can do, like, I can't do funny voices, but maybe you can do all different funny voices. And your dream job is to be a voiceover artist or a voice actor. So 2 terms there. I forgot to put the one on the slide. Maybe you want to be a race car driver, a very dangerous job, but maybe you want to drive in F1, Formula 1. Maybe you want to drive in at your local racetrack. You want to drive a race car. And maybe you want to drive laps around the track really fast and pull into the pits and have your tires changed by your pit crew. Maybe driving a race car is the future. This is not Formula 1, by the way. In North America, we also have NASCAR as well, a very popular type of racing. And then I think there's IndyCar. I watch NASCAR, but I haven't watched IndyCar or Formula 1 very much. Maybe you want to be a mascot. A mascot is someone who dresses up for a sports team and helps entertain the crowd at a stadium or arena. This is Ace from the team, the Toronto Blue Jays. So they are a baseball team in Toronto. Remember I said we have teams that play in leagues in North America. Baseball is one of those leagues. So the Toronto Blue Jays play against all of the American teams, which is kind of cool. And teams have a mascot. This is Ace, as I mentioned. Maybe your dream is to dress up as a bird or some other, whatever represents the team, and run around and do dances and entertain the crowd. Do they have mascots for football teams in Europe? I don't know. I think they probably do. Aren't mascots universal? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Maybe you want to be a movie director. Maybe you want to go to the set of a movie and you want to sit in the director's chair and you want to tell the actors what to do, and you want to be the person in charge of making a film or a TV show. Then you would be a director. So TV shows have directors as well, but generally when we say director, I'm usually thinking of a movie director. And maybe your goal is to make movies as a movie director. Very cool goal, very cool dream job. Where do you work? Well, mostly you're on set, and sets can be anywhere. If you're making a movie outside, you might be living in a trailer with everyone else while you are on set, while you are filming and making the movie. Maybe you want to be a Google, Facebook, or Instagram employee. Some people, their dream job is simply to work for big tech. Big tech is the term we use for the really, really large companies in the world. Google, Facebook. I know Facebook owns Instagram now, but TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Google, YouTube is part of Google. But some people, their dream job is to work for one of the big tech companies. That might be your goal in life, because I hear it's really fun to work there. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'll never know. Maybe your goal is to be a vet or a veterinarian. A vet takes care of animals. A vet would work at a veterinary clinic, and they would have people bring their pets into them, and they would see if there's anything wrong with them. So it's like being a doctor, except for animals. We almost always use the short form vet. We don't often say veterinarian. So we take our dog, Oscar, to the vet clinic once a year. They do some tests and they see if there's anything wrong with him. Maybe you love animals and your dream job is to be a vet. My dream job was never to be a vet. I like animals, but it just doesn't interest me really. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of I don't actually know anyone. I think I have a former student that's becoming a vet. That's the only person I know. But anyways. Teacher, maybe your dream job is to be a teacher. Maybe you just like teaching things. There's 2 things that are required, maybe 3 things that are required to be a good teacher, I think. One is you have to like teaching, okay? So some people think just knowing a lot is one thing you need. You need to know a lot, but you need to like teaching about that thing. The second thing is you have to actually like students. You have to like people who ask a lot of questions and who are trying to learn stuff. Believe it or not, some people go through teachers college or they go to university to become a teacher. And then in the end, they realize they don't actually like kids or teenagers. They find them kind of annoying. That's not a good sign. The third thing you need to be a good teacher is you have to be curious and you have to always be learning new things. This probably wasn't as important 20 or 30 years ago, but nowadays it's very important. But maybe your dream job is to work in a classroom at a school and to teach people about things that they don't know about. Maybe you want to teach French or English. Maybe you want to teach geography or science. Maybe you want to be a scientist. A big shout out and thank you to all the scientists in the world as well right now, especially those that worked on trying to get rid of COVID, studying this disease, creating vaccines and treatments. Thank you to all the scientists. But a scientist would work in a lab. A scientist would do research. A scientist would do experiments to try to discover new things in various fields. Maybe your goal is to become a scientist. Maybe your goal is to become a professional wrestler. This is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson back in the days when he was a pro wrestler. In North America, there is professional wrestling. I know this is somewhat popular in other countries, but maybe your goal is to be in the ring. Maybe your goal is to wrestle against other people. Maybe your goal is to have a wrestling match every weekend and try to win the world champion belt or trophy. I never wanted to be a professional wrestler, but certainly I think I would go see a pro wrestling match someday just for fun, just to see what it's like. I used to watch it on TV a little bit, but maybe you want to be a professional wrestler. Maybe you want to be a sports announcer or commentator. So these are pretty much the same roles. These are the people you hear talking when you watch sports on television. There's usually a commentator or an announcer, or maybe there's someone who's doing a play-by-play. Play-by-play is when they say, okay, Gagnon has the puck, he's skating up the ice, he passes it over to Lemieux, Lemieux has the puck, he moves to the left, he moves to the right, he shoots, he scores. That would be someone doing a play-by-play of a hockey game. Maybe you want to be a DJ. A DJ, also referred to as a disc jockey, it's kind of, in English, there's 2 definitions of DJ. A DJ is someone who plays music at a party or at a bar or at a nightclub or at a big festival. You might have someone up on the stage who's playing music. Okay, they might be mixing music, they might be finding good songs for people to dance to, and that is a disc jockey. But someone who plays music on a radio station can also be called a DJ. You could say, oh, he's a DJ at Q107. That's the name of one of our local radio stations. So DJ kind of has two terms. We also call someone who works at a radio station a radio host. So DJ is someone who plays music. A radio host is maybe someone who talks a little bit more, but this can also be someone who plays music at a radio station. Maybe your dream job is to be a politician. This is Emmanuel Macron. He is the current president of France. Maybe your dream is to be the mayor of your local town and work at the City Hall. Sorry, I just forgot the word. Maybe your dream is to become president or to become a member of parliament in your country, depending on how your system of government works. But maybe your goal in life is to become a politician, someone who is maybe elected by the people, if you're in a democracy, or someone who is a government representative. Your goal is to just be someone who works on behalf of the people to run the country well. Maybe you want to be a world leader. This is Justin Trudeau, currently the Prime Minister of Canada. Maybe your goal, maybe you live in the United States and you want to become like Joe Biden, the current president. Maybe your goal is to become a world leader. A world leader would work, Justin Trudeau works in the Parliament buildings. I'm sure he has an office there, and he has a special residence called Rideau Hall. I think I got that right. I should double check my facts before I do these lessons. It's not important for you to know where the Prime Minister lives. Anyways, if you ever visit Ottawa, you might have a chance to see Prime Minister Trudeau, who is one of the world leaders in the world today, the world leader of Canada. Maybe you want to be an ambassador. This is Isabelle Hudon, who's the Canadian ambassador to France. An ambassador is someone who represents a country. So she is the ambassador of Canada to France. So she is Canadian, and she would work at the Canadian embassy in France. Countries usually have embassies in other countries. It's a building that represents that country in that other country. So maybe your goal is to become an ambassador, work at an embassy, go to lots of meet and greets, which are kind of like parties where officials like Isabel would go just to kind of talk to people from other countries. Maybe that's your goal, to be an ambassador. Maybe this should be my goal. Maybe this is what I should do when I retire. I should become a Canadian ambassador. I should start writing letters asking about how to become an ambassador. If I become an ambassador to your country someday, we will have a party at the embassy for former students of Bob the Canadian. We'll do that. Maybe you want to become a dancer. Maybe you just love to move and you love being on stage. Maybe you want to become a ballet dancer, maybe a hip hop dancer. Maybe you just love putting on shows for people where you perform by doing different types of dance. Dancers usually practice at a dance studio and they would perform on a stage. But maybe you don't like singing so much. You don't like doing card tricks, but you love to move and you love to dance. Maybe you are a dancer and your dream job is to be paid to dance someday. That would be pretty cool. I'm not a great dancer, but if I was, that'd be a cool job, I think. Maybe you want to be a test pilot and you want to test out new airplanes. I have no desire to do this, but maybe your goal in life is to be a test pilot. When a company makes a brand new airplane, your job would be to climb into the cockpit and to test the new plane before they start making more of them for other people. Maybe you want to be a test driver. Maybe you work for a car company, and when they make a new car, you test the car on the track. So they probably have a test track where the test driver can test drive the new prototypes. A prototype is like a new version of a car. Maybe your goal, maybe your dream job in life is to be a test driver for Nissan or for Audi or for BMW or Tesla. Maybe you would love to work for one of those companies and test out their cars. Maybe you want to be a movie critic. When I was younger, there was a show called At the Movies. and it had Siskel and Ebert, and they would watch a movie and then they would give it 2 thumbs up or 1 thumb up, 1 down, or 2 thumbs down. Maybe you want to watch movies and either talk about them on a television show or a YouTube channel, or you want to write for the entertainment section of a newspaper. So movie critics can either be on TV or they can be people who write articles. They would work, I guess they would go and watch the movie. They would see a preview of the movie before other people got to see it. And then they would go back to their office and sit at their computer and write an article. Or they would go back to the studio and record a new episode for a TV show where they critique the movies. Maybe you want to be an animator. When I first started teaching, it's around the same time that Toy Story came out, the very first Toy Story. So in my computer class where we learned a little bit of animation, we would watch Toy Story. But maybe you love to draw. Maybe you love to use computers to draw in a way where you can animate things, to make movies like Frozen or Frozen 2. Maybe your dream is to work for Pixar or Disney and to be an animator that helps make TV shows. Oh, that's not the end. One sec here. Let's do a couple questions. I'm not sure why the phone's ringing. We're just going to let it ring. Okay, I'll check who it is later. I didn't get a lot of the questions done today, but let's do a couple questions. And then let's see. Next question from Ruslan. Hello, the great teacher Bob. How are you? What is the most extraordinary job you would like to try if you had a chance? Yeah, I think I would love to know what the feeling of performing on a stage as a rock star. I want to know what that would feel like. I don't want to be a rock star, but I wonder what it's like to have 30 or 40,000 people singing along while you sing or play a song. I would love to know what that feels like. Okay, sorry folks, I got 2 slides left. So maybe sorry, I'm a little off track because the phone rang. Let me get settled down again. Maybe you love animals and you would love to work at a zoo. Someone who works at a zoo is a zookeeper. This zookeeper is in the turtle pen or the turtle cage or the turtle enclosure. There's a lot of different names, and they are trying to find out what's wrong with the turtle. So maybe your dream job is to work with animals, but maybe you don't want to be a vet. Maybe becoming a veterinarian seems very challenging and difficult, but maybe you can work at a zoo and be a zookeeper. And then here's my last slide. Maybe you want to be a farmer. Maybe your dream job is to be a farmer and to be outside in the rain or in the sun, in the heat, in the cold, and to grow things, either to raise animals or to grow crops. Notice we use 2 different verbs there. Maybe you would love to be a sheep farmer and raise sheep. Maybe you would love to be a flower farmer and grow flowers. You might know this farmer if you're familiar with my channel. But maybe your dream job is to be a farmer. So that's the end of the regular part of the lesson. And I do notice it is 9:32 my time. So I do have to wrap this up because I have other things I have to do today. So sorry I didn't get to more of the questions. I know that I only answered 10 of the 24 questions, so sorry about that. Maybe I'll take 5 minutes to try to do rapid fire questions right now. Let me get to that. Let me do a sound check for a sec too. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do rapid fire question answering. Ario has the first question. Hola, Mr. Bob, how are you? My dream job, I want to become a YouTuber, but I haven't made any content yet. Give me a suggestion, please. Thank you. If you become a YouTuber, know 2 things. Do a YouTube channel about something you love. Don't try to copy someone else because they're successful. And number 2, be ready to work really hard. Putting out 1 5 to 10 minute video a week is a few hours of work. Doing more than that is just a ton of work. So just make sure you're ready for that, Ario. But make sure it's based on something you love so that as you do it, you can keep enjoying it for sure. Let's see here. Natalia says, dear teacher, I used to be a piano player in my past. I played in the concerts a lot. Very cool. That was a cool time. I saw one of your kids also has a keyboard in your house. Tell me. So all of our kids take piano lessons until they're 13 years old. Some continue playing other instruments. None went past that, none of our kids. But we do think it's good for their brain and their thinking. So we make them take piano lessons for a few years. Let me just skip along here. George the Greek says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you today? As always, awesome lesson. Which is your favorite athlete or musician? I think Fred VanVleet from the Toronto Raptors is my favorite athlete right now. I just love the guy. It's so much fun watching that team play basketball, and Fred in particular. And then let me get back to questions. Musician, I would say, I know I do like Bono. I like U2. I like Billy Joel. I like some of the older bands and singers that were popular in the 80s and into the 90s, but ones that had good songs and still have good songs today. Let's see. Mode. Hello, wise Mr. Bob. What's your advice for young people who haven't found their passion yet and can't determine what their dream job is? Thank you for your input. I've always been a fan of don't go to school, like don't go to university if you don't know what to do, but make sure you are exploring different jobs. Certainly talking to older people at family events. Talk to your uncles and aunts about what they do for a living. Talk to anyone you see so that you get a sense of what is out there. Sometimes it's just a matter of people not knowing what jobs are available. Henry from Taiwan. Hi, Teacher Bob. Is being a teacher what you planned to do when you were a kid? What your mom or dad would say you to be? Thank you. So my parents didn't care what I became. They just wanted me to go to university and get a degree in something. They valued education. So let me skip along here. I think I have too many questions to finish this. So I'm going to wrap this up, people. We're going to say this is it for today. Sorry I didn't get to all the questions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on dream jobs. I hope it didn't make you sad about the job you have right now, okay? I hope you didn't watch this and think, yeah, those all look like really nice jobs and I don't like my job. I hope you find peace and value and joy in the work you do every day. I hope you first and above all work with really good people. Having a job that isn't enjoyable, but working with people that are fun to be with can make the job enjoyable. Often on the farm, there are jobs that aren't enjoyable, but doing it with a few other people and laughing while you do it can be the best thing. So anyways, Bob the Canadian here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I'm going to press the end button now, and I will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. for an outdoor live question and answer lesson. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way.